All right, and on to the next one. Probably one of the biggest games. Well, I mean, not biggest point-wise or deficit-wise. The Patriots-Chargers game. Chargers got
Yeah.
absolutely dominated, 45 to
They
nothing.
got
And we talk about the Chargers every week, and we're like, oh, we'd feel bad for Chargers fans because they always find a way to lose games in a heartbreaking fashion. But this game, they just got absolutely dominated.
It's another type of heartbreaking.
Yeah,
Because it was less heartbreaking, more in just like suffering. You were just like, every drive, you were just sitting there like, are we going to do a thing?
and then I saw something about their special teams. I don't know if you saw anything about every time they'd go out to punt or whatever, they didn't have the correct amount of people on the field every time. The Patriots apparently lined up to punt 5 times in the game, and the Chargers had the wrong number of players on the field for 3 of those plays. On one series, they lined up for a punt with 12. They got flagged and gave up the first down. Then lined up with 10 for 4 snaps later.
Is there a flag for not enough players on the field?
I'm not sure, but yeah, and
like the Chargers are a mess, and Anthony Lynn is going to get fired.
Yeah,
Anthony Lynn is going to lose his job.
And we we always talk about, like, I always hear things at the beginning of the season that like there's the Madden curse for some people, but then you also hear like the Hard Knocks curse, which I didn't really think was a real thing. But like you kind of start looking at, the only team that hasn't affected is the Rams. They're still playing good, but I think the Rams just rubbed all their fucking bad juju off on the Chargers because they're 3-9 now, and they've learned to just lose heartbreakingly. You look at the year before, it was the Raiders with Antonio Brown, and you saw what all happened there. The Raiders didn't play too hot, and then
the Browns on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, so the past couple of years for Hard Knocks, it might be a real thing, might not, but either way. And I heard this morning NFL. I was watching some NFL now, and people are talking about Anthony Lynn might get fired at the end of the season, but not definitely won't get fired during the season, which is interesting. Which, I mean, guess it makes sense since there is not a lot of weeks left.
Yeah, I mean, I think Anthony Lynn's a good guy, and like he's been a really good. I think he's been a nice coach. Like as far as like an actual person, you hear nothing but really good things about the guy. So I think the Chargers have enough respect for him that they'll let him finish the season, but I think they have every intention of replacing him.
Yeah.
He, like, in the last 2 games have just been... It's the team not being coached well. It's the team not being prepared. It's just not a good look for them, and I think Anthony Lynn... I know he had that really good season, and I just think it's over for him.
I'm gonna bounce around for these last 3 because I wanna cover the best one for last and the second best. So I'm gonna go Bills 49ers. The 49ers play in their new home in Glendale, or at least permanent, or for temporary. It's temporarily at least, but till the whole Santa Clara thing gets all cleared up and whatnot. The Bills go into Glendale and they take a win from the 49ers, comfortably leading the AFC East. So, you look at the 49ers, because, we know the Bills are a playoff team. We saw it last year, even though they lost in the wild card. You look at the 49ers, they don't have Jimmy Garoppolo. They don't have George Kittle. They have Nick Mullins.
They don't have Nick Bosa.
Yeah. They have Deebo Samuel, who's, playing pretty good. They have Brandon Ayuk, who's also playing pretty good. But other than that, and Raheem Mostert. Other than that, not a lot of other weapons on the 49ers offense. Do you think if they happen to sneak in, do you think that they'll win a playoff game?
I don't think they're gonna touch the playoffs, dude. They are just look. I love Nick Mullins. I think he is a great story. He has done a great job. Like, you know, he's done a great job as what was you expect nothing out of this kid, and you know he ends up being able to win you some games, and I think you should be proud of that. But playoff team, I can't imagine this team touching a playoff spot. There's the Cardinals. I think they're better than them. The Vikings, I think, could beat them. You look at this. Here's a crazy thing. Did you know? So you're talking about the 49ers. They have the chance of, you know, they still could make the playoffs. It's not out of the realm of possibility with this 7 seed kind of being more and more up for grabs with the Cardinals. Like, everyone thought that it was be much tougher. Like, really elite teams had to do it because of really good records, but the Cardinals have fallen off a little bit, so it's a much more manageable spot. You know, if we're going to consider the 49ers in the hunt for it, guess who else we have to consider for it?
Ew.
The team that we're going to talk about in just a second, the football team. They have the exact same record as them. They play the 49ers head-to-head next week. Just something to think about.
Well, we're going to have to wait to talk about that team for last, because I want to cover on this team next. We're going to go to the Eagles-Packers. We're not going to talk about the Packers all that much, because we know that they're a playoff team. They're leading their division, you know. We understand about the Packers. I want to touch on the Eagles, who announced today that Jalen Hurts is the starter. Now,
yes, they did.
I know, you know, you have some sort of mixed feelings about Carson Wentz. And, you know, maybe this situation...
I don't know if they're mixed anymore. I think they're very solid for me right now.
Well, I know what you said about, you know, the situation. About, you know, you bench Carson Wentz for a game and humble him. And whatnot. But when they put Jalen Hurts in, I don't know if you were watching the Packers-Eagles game. I don't think you were. Were you?
Oh, no, I watched it from... it was going on. I was watching clips of it. I had Red Zone on, so I saw parts of it. I had to leave. I did not see Jalen Hurts' touchdown.
When they put Jalen Hurts into the game, you could already, you know, the first couple plays, you could already feel there's something different about the team other than, you know, like, you know, just Carson Wentz not being in. Like, Jalen Hurts brought this certain energy, and if he was in earlier, he probably could have made, you know, a better comeback. He started scoring points, but turned the ball over, and, you know, one turnover really killed them, and they just fell behind quickly. But Jalen Hurts really did give them some, you know, a little bit of edge, and he played pretty well. So it's nice to see that he's going to be starting over Carson Wentz. And you know, I've been looking over today, you know, some of the Eagles fans after and, you know, Dan Orlovsky says this normal thing about Carson Wentz, but everyone's saying, you know, it's not on Carson Wentz, and they make up all these excuses, but at some point, you have to realize that it's not. I understand that the Eagles don't have a good offensive line right now. I understand they don't have a lot of weapons. But Jalen Hurts went out there, and he was putting up more points than what Carson Wentz was doing. So, at some point, you have to look at this team, and you have to look at Carson Wentz and be like, there's something wrong with Carson Wentz. And it's not just the team around him. It's Carson Wentz, too.
Even Orlovsky admitted yesterday that Carson Wentz is broken.
Yeah.
He is not the same quarterback he was, and they need to take him out. And that even though it hurts him and he doesn't really like the idea, he still thinks Carson Wentz is great. They need to take him out. They need to let him think. They need to get something through his head that he is not. He needs to change.
The thing with Carson Wentz is he tries to play hero ball too often. He wants to win on one throw. And he holds the ball for too long. He does all this sorts of stuff. And, yeah, you know, he doesn't have a lot of great talent around him, but that's not a full excuse for him. Like, Jalen Hurts went out there and played really well with those guys. Now, I think if you're the Eagles, and if you still spot, you know, if Jalen Hurts provides you this spark that you need, maybe you win out, and who knows, by some sort of twist of fate, you win the division. And you started Jalen Hurts the whole way. You still started Jalen Hurts in the playoffs. You look at the offseason, and you look at Carson Wentz, and you look at his contract, and you think, and I know...
That's going to be a tough one.
And you know, you could get out of the contract if you really think that Jalen Hurts can bring you this edge. But if you're the Eagles, if you're the owner, I can't remember, is Luthery or something, or I can't remember what is.
Oh, the GM?
Yeah, no, the owner.
Art Modell?
No, it's like Jeff Luthery or something.
Oh, I thought it was Howie Roseman.
No, Howie Roseman's the GM. I want to say it's... Yeah, Jeffrey Lurie. Sorry, if you're Jeffrey Lurie, you look at Howie Roseman and what he's done. I don't think Howie Roseman should be a GM next year. Now, when it comes to Doug Peterson, I don't know. Okay, I honestly don't know. He did take the Eagles to the Super Bowl, and I'm gonna say the same thing I said about the Bears and Matt Nagy. You give Doug Peterson a decent quarterback for a year, and you get a new GM, and you get new wide receivers. Alshon Jeffrey is a shell of himself now. He's not doing the same that he was doing before. You go out in the free agency.
I disagree with one thing. I don't think Doug Peterson should coach again. Okay. He needs to take responsibility for this too. He's been his play calling has been atrocious, and he needs to take responsibility for that too. And he needs to be sat. The difference is Carson Wentz needs to be sat down but in my opinion, Doug Peterson needs to be shown the door.
All right. Well, either way, we look at the team, and everyone wants to say, you know, the receivers or whatnot. Allen Robinson's a free agent this year. Who knows what they're going to do, if they're going to franchise tag him, if they're going to sign him. If they don't, and he's sitting in free agency, if you are the Bears, you go out and you sign him to whatever contract, you know, whatever he thinks is fair. You go out and get Allen Robinson, because when he has a decent quarterback, he can play great.
It's going to be an interesting free agency class where you could have Allen Robinson and Julio Jones in the same... free agency class.
Yeah, and well, you could possibly see Julio getting traded. Who knows? Because I think he's still on contract.
Yeah, but yeah.
If you're the Eagles, you go out, you get a good wide receiver. I understand you drafted Jalen Reagor, who had a good punt return, but he's just speed.
You drafted him to catch passes, not return.
Yeah, you basically, Howie Roseman looked at him, is like speed. That right there, draft him. Speed.
They lost out on Justin Jefferson for that guy. Just remember that.
Yeah, and they also passed up on DK and all sorts of stuff. There could be a lot. If I'm looking at the Eagles, you go get a good wide receiver. You trade away Zach Ertz because he's not. You have Dallas Goedert. You have
doing a good job.
You have Dallas Goedert.
Even Richard Rodgers has done a good job.
Yeah, you don't need Zach Ertz. You can trade him for a pick or someone on defense. If you don't get Allen Robinson, you can get a good wide receiver. Maybe you can get a pick and try to throw that to the Falcons. Get Julio Jones. Either way, you need to do something with the offensive core, the wide receivers. Go out in the first round or the second round, somewhere high, get an offensive lineman that's not pure guard, because you drafted Andre Dillard and a panic pick because...
Actually, okay, I don't know if that was a panic pick. I thought it was a pretty nice pick at the time. Dillard had done good things. I think the problem was his talent didn't translate the way they thought it would.
Well, either way, you go
a lot
out.
Of people consider at the time. A lot of people considered that a steal. Like they were like, "Wow, they got what could be a really good tackle."
I might be thinking of the Texans offensive lineman they drafted has the panic pick. But either way, you need to go out and get an offensive lineman because you can't just have your quarterback getting put back there like a rag doll every 2 seconds.
All right, so Chiefs Broncos.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say you were talking like we were gonna just go right to the very fun one, but I think we got one more.
Yeah, I forgot. I almost forgot about that one. So Drew Lock, fun fact, had not thrown a touchdown pass before this game against the Chiefs.
And I think he did.
Drew Lock,
my brother,
played really well, considering he just came on, tested positive or tested negative. And whatnot. He's never really played well against the Chiefs before, but I think this game, even though Drew Lock did throw 2 interceptions, one was very costly, which I'd like to say, the Honey Badger. We talked about it before. We talked about the Daniel Sorensen stuff and whatnot. But this time it was the Honey Badger with the game clincher.
Okay, I get that. I just got some breaking news. This is college basketball news, but I think I should say it because this is actually kind of big enough. I think it deserves it. Kansas State have made history today. They have become the first major conference team to lose to a Division II college team since 2000. After they have just lost to Fort Hays State. So I'm going to talk about it. I just want to say, we're right next to Kansas. We have a lot of Kansas State fans in Missouri here.
Wait, Kansas State or Kansas, like Jayhawks?
Kansas State Wildcats.
Ah, fuck. I like the Wildcats more than the Jayhawks, but I'm a Mizzou fan.
No way Kansas would let that happen to them in basketball.
Well, that's why I was like super shocked for a second, because I was like, isn't this like the Kansas that goes to the playoffs every year?
Yeah, but I just saw that. So yeah, Kansas had just lost to Fort Hays State. That is kind of shocking. They don't even have... So on ESPN, if you go to the ESPN app, there is no logo for Fort Hays State. It is a blank gray logo.
Interesting.
That's how, bad they were. So, moving on to the Chiefs. The Honey Badger made the play. Sorensen wasn't there as much, but also, he can't come in every game. He's not. I've just said he's a really good safety, but he's not. He's not Tyrann Mathieu. He's not Jamal Adams. He's not Derwin James. He's not going to be doing these things every game. My entire argument is based that he's a good safety, and he did some good stuff. He didn't do anything that was, he made a really clutch tackle on a 3rd down. Like he blew up. Who was it? I forget the wide receiver's name, but I remember they did a little dump off, and they're trying to get a 1st down. And Dirty Dan basically came in and sat him down and told him, "You're not getting a 1st down because I am better than you."
Well, now, Tyrann Mathieu now leads the team in interceptions.
Yes, he does with 5. Wait, was it 5 interceptions to Sorensen's 3?
But also, my guy, you already know.
Oh, your guy.
You might know who I'm talking about. Defensive rookie of the year. Almost had an interception. Just like to say, he almost had an interception. But
he's sitting at 2 now to Sorensen's 3.
Yeah.
With the no fumble recoveries and not nearly as many crucial tackles as Sorensen.
He had to let Tyrann Mathieu get the game clincher. He couldn't. He didn't want to do it. He didn't want to. Yeah.
Had to let him. He let him do it. That's why it happened. He let him.
Yeah. He's like I have the interception in my hands, but I want to let the old man get the pick
Oh,
over
really?
me.
He had it in his hands.
Yeah, he did.
Is that why it spiked off his hands and then it hovered up? Like, Yeah, you had it. I had it. I had the. That's like me putting up my hand and letting a bullet fly through and be like, "Oh, I could have caught that." I had it right in my hand, but I had to let the person behind me catch that. But no, Legarius is a good corner, and I'm happy that he's performing well. But I'll still take Sorensen.
Just it's not like he's the Pro Football Focus fourth ranked best cornerback in the league right now. Just saying. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, well, Pro Football Focus also one time made an algorithm that said Patrick Mahomes was the sixth best quarterback in the NFL. So, spare me with the Pro Football Focus gibberish.
Tim Patrick caught Drew Lock's 2 touchdowns. One was just absolutely, absolute dot by Drew Lock. Then they went for the 2-point conversion. Not as good as a dot as the touchdown pass, because Drew Lock was scrambling around and decided, oh look, it's the wall for the bleachers. I'm gonna throw it right there. But as a Chiefs fan, I was frustrated this whole game. Yeah, Tyreek had 2 touchdowns that both didn't count. One was because no one thought he caught it. Not even Tyreek thought he caught the ball.
I saw some Chiefs fans be like, "This is horse crap. The resurrection." I'm like,
it wasn't.
What are the refs supposed to do? Even the freaking wide receiver didn't make an argument. No one thought he caught it. Tyreek Hill got up and was like, "Dang it, I dropped that." Because he thought that the ball bounced and then went into his hands in midair. When in reality it bounced up and then landed right in his hands.
If it's anyone's fault, it's Andy Reid or David or Dave Tobe, because I remember watching the replay and I was like, oh, he caught that. Not even a second later, we are punting the ball away. Record time, I think. Our punt team has got on the field and punted the damn ball because I think it was like 3 seconds. Tyreek jogged over. They're showing the replay and I'm like, oh, challenge it, and they're already punting. Like, what the absolute fuck are you doing, Dave? Like, just hold on a second. And Andy was watching, and then, the punt happened, and they're watching the replay, and he's like, oh, and he's shaking his head. I'm like, well, then don't put the fucking ball in record time. And then the second one, it was called back because of the holding call on Nick Allegretti, and I watched it back a couple times, and I don't think there's enough there to really call it back, because Nick has Shelby Harris, and he kind of starts letting him go by, and he kind of he grabs a little bit and then he lets go. He's not holding him all the way back from, is slightly slowing him down. I've seen a lot of teams have gotten that. And they just happen to get it on us, and Tyreek has, Patrick Mahomes throws a really good ball and gets called back. There's just a lot of missed opportunities, a lot of missed points a lot of points left on the field towards the end of the game. It was just frustrating to watch because it just felt like there were a lot of bad calls. It felt like. In this game, like there was a call I remember.
Holy crap!
There was a call I remember, where it was on Bashaud Breeland and Jerry Jeudy, and Jerry Jeudy slips, and Bashaud Breeland slightly trips and falls on him, and they called it pass interference. And I remember watching it. I'm like, he's slipping, and just some of these refs need to understand that not everything is like, oh, well, he slightly tapped him, so that's the reason why he fell. Like, no. You saw it a lot during the game that, there were a lot of Broncos players just slipping around, and it mostly happened to Melvin Gordon, slipping around on the field.
Falling over.
It felt like all of them were, half drunk or something, just sliding around. or like, you know, maybe the field is like slip and slide.
Bringing
But
up the
like,
Broncos running backs for a second. Me and my brother have had this argument a lot now. Who is the better running back?
Melvin Gordon
or Philip? Thank you. Thank you.
Philip Lindsay was not getting anything. Was not getting anything done.
I love Philip Lindsay. I think Philip Lindsay, like, he's a good little, like, you know. The only reason he got to try out for the Broncos is because he was from Denver. If he was from this little county outside of Denver, then they probably wouldn't have let him do it.
He played at Colorado State and
Colorado.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was Colorado State.
No, I remember he was a part of the Colorado team that actually competed for the college football playoff in 2016. But there was a good team. But you know, Melvin. So at one point, the number was Melvin Gordon. 100. It was 8 attempts, 103 yards. To Philip Lindsay's 9 attempts for 21 yards.
Yeah.
So, all I'm gonna say is, I've said it for a while now. When you run the football, you know, they didn't win, but it was way closer than anyone thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, and you know, the Broncos.
Come on, Vic Fangio, run the football.
And, you know, and I've told you this before. It's just too simple for them to do. They're not gonna do what's easiest for them. But either way, after that frustrating game, my whole week was made last night off this one game. Alex Smith still helps the Chiefs even when he's gone for the Washington football team to pull off what most people said. You know, it was an upset, was what a lot of people said, but maybe the biggest upset. You know, it's hard with the Giants pulling it up against Seahawks, but this may have been the biggest upset of the season. Well, we predicted it. We said
we did,
and we talked about it.
Football team,
and we didn't just say, you know, because we just wanted the Steelers to lose. We had good reasons, and you know, we kind of saw a little bit of the reason, even though Antonio Gibson,
they had never played a defense like the football team. The football team had the best defense they'd played all year. And Antonio Gibson was going to be an X factor. Now, he ended up getting injured. But,
and was out for the whole game, basically, because he got injured early in the first quarter, went out with turf toe.
But Alex Smith, Logan Thomas, and Sims, and, of course, Terry McLaurin, they all came together, along with Peyton Barber, who got he got a touchdown, but he wasn't getting many yards. He just ended up falling into the end zone.
Yeah.
They came together, and under Ron Rivera, who is a really great coach, they put together something incredible.
On offense, okay. But we're going to talk about how great the Washington football team's defense was.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, the Steelers went for it on like twice on fourth down. They went for it once at the goal line, and they had They had multiple opportunities to go score, and Chase Young had a lot of great plays. But one that I will not forget about this game, he ran all the way around the edge, and I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was a halfback. I can't remember which one. Went to go hop up, try to get to the end zone, and Chase Young grabbed his legs and just ripped him down like a little kid. But this team, you know, Alex Smith, towards like the beginning, it did not seem like they were gonna pull off the upset. They were sort of. It was a slow start for both teams. Both went 3 and out like 5 consecutive times, I believe. And the Steelers went out, put points on the board first, but slowly and surely you could feel the momentum start going in Washington's way. Alex Smith was starting to get into a rhythm. Logan Thomas had an insane game. And even when it felt like the refs were on the Steelers' side, when Logan Thomas converted a first down on a 3rd and long, he should have had that first down call. I don't know what crack they were smoking to make them think, oh, he is short. Or, if, they're looking at the camera angle and they're like, maybe there's not enough there. Maybe that's what they thought. They're like, it's inconclusive. But he had the first eye. Like, there is no way you can tell me he didn't. Either way, with the refs team doing all this, dumb little calls, the football team prevailed and took down the undefeated Steelers. Which we've talked about, that they feel like the sloppiest undefeated team. We see it here.
Here's the thing. There were some comparisons from this year's Steelers team to last year's New England team.
Yeah.
Now, here's the biggest thing. How will they come back from this? Because how they're able to do it is partially, yes, they had a pretty easy schedule this season. So they've been able to beat some pretty mediocre teams and be able to beat them with a couple decent wins mixed in there. But they were able to get, they had 3 wide receivers who none of them were like a liability. Claypool, Johnson, Schuster. The biggest problem is they succeeded most when they quick pass, get the ball quickly, try to make someone miss. That doesn't work anymore. Teams have figured that out, and they have not found that second gear. When they're the great team, like say, this is the same thing Lamar Jackson's running into. He was playing amazing football, but the problem is teams figured out there are ways to stop him, there are ways to beat him, and now the biggest problem is how to adjust. And yeah, I think now I don't want to overreact too much because there are people like, they may not even get to 3, they might not even get the 2 seed. I'm like, slow down. I would like it just as much for a Steelers collapse. Trust me, I would love to see it. I'm not gonna bail on them because of a bad game.
I don't know how well they're gonna be looking in Week 14. They play a good team. They play the Bills. So we can't say, obviously.
And the Bills coming off of was one of their more impressive performances.
Yeah.
And, I mean, they lose that game, and we handle our business this week against, is it Miami this week we got?
Yeah.
We handle our business against a good old tool time. We handle ourselves. It's going to be a tough one from you. Patrick Mahomes against your boy crush.
I don't know what you're talking about. I said, you know what? You hate on Tua. You hate on Tua for no really good reason.
It's overhyped.
I'm not. I never hyped him. But okay.
Oh, now you're hyping him up. You never seem to argue with me that much.
Either way.
You never seem to argue with me much about it until he became the starter, and you were like, 2 time.
Whatever you say. I guess, if you want to put it like that, I guess I am the Dan Orlovsky to Tua Tagovailoa. I guess that's what.
Don't that much moniker on it, okay? All I'm gonna say is, his wins are against our Rams, who had Jared Goff have 5 turnovers over a great defensive performance. Cardinals, I'll give him that one. The Cardinals was a legit good performance. Then Bengals without Burrow and a god-awful defense. And there was one other bad team mixed in there. I can't remember. I just know it was not a good team that he beat. So, Chargers. He beat the Chargers. Chargers team that could lose, that at this point would probably just be better not showing up to games so that they could cause their fans less pain. But yeah, it's Tua. I don't think he'll make the playoffs. But yeah. And I just want to say, good luck to the football team, I hope you guys make the playoffs, because nothing would be better than to host the game in FedEx Field. A playoff game hosted in FedEx Field by a team that has no name. And Alex Smith, you know, here's the thing. I think people forget that Alex Smith can win games. I'm not sure what the ability was, but Alex Smith, like before Alex Smith got injured, the Washington were in a position to make the playoffs with him. So I don't know. Against this 49er team that's injured, and predictions, you know, they wanna be ready for things to get a little interesting down there in Washington.
So, talking about the Steelers, and we said, you know, you talked about, you know, the potential collapse and everyone freaking out. They do play 3 playoff teams, potential playoff teams, in their next 4 games.
They got
the Colts, the Browns, and the Bills.
Browns, the Bills.
And
I think they beat the Browns. I think the Colts is a 50-50, and I think they lose to the Bills.
You think they lose to the Bills? Now the Bills do have a pretty good defense. Now
the Colts have the defense and the offense to beat them.
Yeah, it's just the Steelers have to go out, and with all the injuries we've seen to the Steelers' defense, it's not out of the realm of possibility for the Bills. I understand the Browns pick. The Colts one. They also have a really good defense, and you know, I'm a little suspect of the Colts offense still, but they do have a really good defense. It seems to be able to get the job.
It seems to just barely be able to get the job done.
Yeah. So the Steelers could lose 3 out of their next 4 games. It isn't out of the realm of possibility. Now I'm not going to say they're going to completely collapse and win or lose all the next 4 games, but it is a possibility for them to lose a couple of other games before the end of the year.
Okay.
So, with that all being said, that's gonna be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time, and peace.
For the night, don't have to think twice. I'll be oh so nice. I have to think twice. I'll be here for the night. Don't have to think twice. I'll be oh so nice. I have to think twice. I'll be here for the night. Travel far, moving with the seasons. Go to Panama, then on to Ibiza. It didn't take that long. Had no time for weeping. Fingernails like claws. I'm a close to keeping. Go store your bag. Think I had a reason. Can't remember shit, but I got a feeling. Play you all my songs on a blown out speaker. Did we work it up? Can't remember either. Running in circles, not feeling okay. Act like imposters, we playing all day. Last night we talked all about holidays. One day we'll get all this, then get away. Tonight, don't have to think twice. I'll be oh so nice. I have to think twice. I'll be here for the night. Don't have to think twice. I'll be oh so nice. I have to